Hi, my name is Aharon Robbins. I work for McAfee. Seen a lot of stuff today, have no clue what it is. We're going to talk about open source for fun and profit. And I actually practiced this talk in Hebrew, so we'll see how it works giving it in English. There's my email if you want it. Tiny bit about me. I'm a software engineer, lots of experience. As you can tell, originally from the US. I've been in Israel about 20 years. Worked for Intel, I now work for McAfee. In my secret identity as Arnold Robbins, I work for the GNU project, I maintain GNU Awk, and I've published books with O'Reilly and Prentice Hall. Database security, what do? Well, originally we were a startup company called Centrigo in Kfar Saba. We were purchased by McAfee very shortly before McAfee was bought by Intel. We were part of McAfee/Intel for a number of years, and if anybody doesn't know, we're now McAfee again. We've been spun out of Intel. That happened about 2 months ago. What we do is database security. We monitor your commercial databases like Oracle, Sybase, DB2, on all kinds of platforms, Windows, Linux, etc. We also do open source databases, Postgres, MySQL, and Mongo. It's the two guys in red that we're interested in today. Why is database security important? Well, if you stop and think about it, it's pretty obvious. Data is your crown jewels, right? The stuff in your database is how you run your company or your government, right? Employee records, tax records, banks, accounts, companies, customers, credit cards. It's all in that database, and it's all critical, and there are bad guys trying to get into it because you steal credit cards, you steal IDs, all that stuff. Really, really bad. So database security is really actually extremely important. So what's our opportunity? What are we trying to do here? Well, we have customers with the big dollar databases like Oracle and so on. Those are expensive, and a lot of those customers want to move to the open source databases because open source databases are cheap, right, or free. So we have existing customers who want to move to open source databases. If we support open source databases, that gives us new customers. Old customers are dollars, new customers are dollars. You put them together, you have lots more dollars. So there's a very good reason to be doing the open source database thing. So how do we do that? We have a lot of technologies that I don't have time to tell you about, but we want to try to leverage the fact that we can get to the source of these databases, which is something you can't do with Oracle or Sybase and so on and so forth. Our solution is plugins. Both MySQL and Postgres have a plug-in mechanism. So what's nice about plugins is you can hook into the database internals to get what you need. We can get as much or as little information as we want. A lot less development time to do a plugin. And since we have the source, we can do something a little bit tricky above and beyond just what the defined plug-in mechanism gives us. This is what it looks like. We have the database on the right with our plug-in. The plug-in sends JSON events to our database access monitor. That's the guy in green. If we see something suspicious, we send an alert to our console. So that's the overall architecture real quick there. How do you do it? Well, you research the database, you read the doc, you look at code, you look at plugins, you go ahead, you write your plugin, you test it, and so on. And now here's the key part. You got to release it under an open source license because the database is licensed GPL probably. And that's the scary part because if you're McAfee or Intel or a great big company, you're really worried about giving away your intellectual property. So, you know, it's like, gee, do I even want to do that because I don't want to give anything away? The solution, the way you get around that is you make what you're doing generic. You make the plugin work so that it works standalone, or that it works with your proprietary database access monitor. And that's what we did. So as we saw in the previous slide, where all we do is we send JSON. So we can write JSON to a file, or you write JSON to a Unix domain socket. How do you publish it? Well, you put the code on GitHub. We'll see the URL in a minute. Wiki, changelog, and so on. You publish binaries. You go ahead and pre-compile binaries for Linux for the various versions. The customers really love this. They don't want to compile it themselves. And that's something I wouldn't have thought about because I'm a compile it yourself guy for very many years. But the customers out there, they just want to do it. And you try to do a buzz. Results, lots of goodness. Our MySQL plugin since 2011. The Postgres since 2016. There's the URL on the bottom. Please give us a star. And don't be afraid to open source your code if you need to. Am I out of time? Okay. Thank you very much.